All right, well, today is not my birthday yet, but we are getting there, ladies and gentlemen. We are getting there. A couple of weeks, actually. I was just talking with my wife this morning about this. Welcome to the stream, by the way, everybody. A little starting in motion today. Coming off of that song, the Mega Man remix song, Proto Man song. I was just talking to my wife today, and I said, usually the first week of April, we decorate the office and have a little festivities for my birthday week. And obviously we want to do that this year as well. And this year's going to be a little different because we don't have the love seat anymore. Instead, we have, I'm in this brown chair and we have these things that we put behind me. Remember, for Halloween and Christmas, I had like a stand where things were like sitting on the stand. And it was pretty good. People liked it. They thought that was a little bit different. Thought it was a little bit different than the usual decorations. So we're going to do the same thing this year with a little variation, obviously, because of what we have. But we need to figure out when we can go and get stuff because, my wife's work schedule is all over the place. This week, my wife's day off is Thursday, and therefore we're going out on Thursday. But that's like a week and a half before my birthday week there. So we were talking a little about whatever the next day off would be, but we're hoping that it'll be at the latest April 1st, which would be another week from Thursday. Because if that's the case, then I could have decorations in here for April 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Have a little run before my birthday actually happens, and then basically they get taken down. And we're talking about a little bit different stuff this year. Usually I have, like, generic birthday balloons. But she was like, why don't we get, like, a helium balloon that looks cool, that won't deflate and stuff. So we're thinking about doing that. I don't know. We got to see. We got to see what we can get and what will look good with the new setup of decorations and stuff. Okay. So it should be fun. Also, remember that week, I'm planning on possibly doing my Challenge Run Marathon event, which will be a day where I just play classic games and I try to challenge myself to hit objectives in these games. And you guys will use your channel points to wager whether or not I will or will not hit those objectives. It should be a really fun day. As we're getting closer to it, we're going to talk a little bit about what games I should play. Right now, the ideas are Classic Super Mario, Legend of Zelda Link to the Past, or Classic Mega Man. Those are like the three big ones that people came up with. So that would be pretty neat to figure out, okay, let's sit down with like one or two major games and go through them in challenge runs and stuff. But I guess we'll see. Is Kat making me a cake? I don't know. It depends on her schedule. I just said this to her the other day, too. I said, you don't have to make a birthday cake for my birthday. If you have a day off earlier in the week and you were going to make me a cake, just make it then and we'll just refrigerate it all week and, take it out on my birthday and have a piece then and, celebrate. But I also told her, you don't have to make me anything. Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. I understand you got a new position, new job responsibilities, new position, everything new. And, her schedule is completely different than it used to be. What we're hoping is that they're going to set her hours and not change them after a while. This week was the first major week where she kind of had everything more settled in, but it's still not sure. Like, for example, I don't know if next week Thursday will be my day off or not. I don't know. They're not telling her that far ahead yet. So, it would be great if every week was the same, and then she could plan out, okay, here are my actual days off and what I can do on each day, but it's not how it's working right now. Okay? So anyway, welcome to the stream, everybody. Figured I'd talk a little bit about that upcoming birthday festivity since it was coming right off the pre-stream music. Today is Monday, the 22nd of March, 2021, and if this were a normal streaming week like it had been for many, many months to years, tomorrow would be my day off, but it is not to be, for the schedule is very different now, and I'm actually going to be streaming today, tomorrow, and Wednesday this week. So we have 3 more streaming days. We're basically about halfway through the streaming week right now, okay? Now, per Twitch's criteria, they consider Monday the first day of the streaming week, and therefore you'll notice, if you take a look at the leaderboards, that they are all reset to 0. So if you want to cheer today, if you gift a subscription to the channel today, you are going to get up on the leaderboard and get some recognition because everything reset overnight here, okay? And there are 6 more gaming streams coming. Holy crap. Let's talk about what streams are coming this week. Today, it's the return of Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection, the incredibly difficult game. I'm on the 5th world now, 5th stage, and we only played it for about, I want to say like a half an hour to 45 minutes. And the first segment is pretty damn tough, but I was pretty much figuring it out and getting through it, but then we ran out of time. We didn't get to the first checkpoint yet. It looks like if I get through the first segment, there's another really tough segment where you're going up on platforms and stuff. That's going to be pretty challenging. So we'll see how this goes today. Can I get, at the very least, can I get to the checkpoint today? That's my goal. Can I get to a checkpoint? If I beat the stage, that's like an added bonus. But I'm just looking to get to the checkpoint so that we make some progress. Okay? I don't actually know how many worlds the game has. So far, like I said, we beat 4. And so this is the fifth stage, technically. I don't know how many total it has. I have to think not too many. The game is so difficult that likely the game probably has like 6 or 7 stages maybe. And then after that, of course, they try to make you go beat this game again a second time to get the true ending, which I don't give 2 fucks about. I really don't. So I guess we'll see. I don't know how many total stages it has, but, you know, how long will it take me to finally beat this game? I don't know. We'll see. So this should be a fun stream. Lots of deaths. I'm sure people will be wagering their channel points on whether I'll succeed or fail, etc. Later tonight, and I'm actually really excited about this stream later tonight, it is the premiere of Season 4 of Fall Guys. Brand new content. All new stages and challenge runs. New outfits. Everything new tonight. Starting fresh. I'm excited for that because Season 3, admittedly, wasn't great, but then when it got kind of hit its mid-season stride, it actually got better when they started doing these variations on the stages, where now there's like 3-4 different ways to play each stage, and it added more variety. It actually made me like the game a lot better, and I've been playing it now consistently for about a month, once a week, and you guys seem to really enjoy it. Tonight, we're going to have new stuff, new stages, so that'll be exciting to check out on launch night. So I hope you'll join me for that later tonight, 6:45 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Tomorrow, it's the continuation of Divinity Original Sin 2, and that'll be good because we are now out of Fort Joy. We're totally doing new exploration in the marshes. We're off to find the leader of the Seekers, who apparently went off to try to find some weapons to fight some creatures that are on the island, and he never came back. Apparently he went to some dungeon or something to try to get these secret weapons and never came back, so we gotta go find out what the hell happened to him. So that's where we're going next time around. Tomorrow. Should be fun. Okay? Tomorrow night, it's a late night stream of Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, and the good news is I've unlocked all of the attachments for the Farah 83 gun, and I am kicking ass. Now with the therms unlocked, I am doing really well. I'm back to getting crazy score streaks and everything. In fact, last time around, not only was I doing well with that, but then I was switching up to the machete and getting like triple slash kill streaks and stuff, which was really fun. So, tomorrow night we continue with that. See how that goes. Should be fun. And then on Wednesday, the continuation of Danganronpa V3. We're going to dive further into this suspenseful mystery. Last time around, we basically laid out the ground rules of what's going on. Monokuma ready to make his return. And basically, the killing game is afoot. Someone needs to kill someone, or else everyone's going to die. Okay? So, should be fun to finally see how that's going to pan out. Maybe we'll have our first murder on the next stream on Wednesday. Okay? Now, Wednesday night is a complete up-in-the-air stream. It'll be my final stream of the week before I have my day off on Thursday. And what are we doing on Wednesday night? I don't know. I'm leaving it open. Here's the possibilities. More Fall Guys. Like, let's say we play Fall Guys tonight. We really like the new stuff, and I want to do more right away. We could do more Wednesday night. Or more Genshin Impact, which I just returned to this week as a chill stream. People seem to like chilling with me, although last night, admittedly, outside of a very generous subscriber bomb that Only Iced Coffee left here, that made us jump a big chunk of subscribers, outside of that, contributions were like almost non-existent. Cheers were low, tips were incredibly low. And people were like, oh, maybe you shouldn't have brought back this game. It's too late. People wanted to see you play this in the fall. Like, yeah, but in the fall, there was 10 other new games. So those took priority over a game like this that's a free-to-play game. But there's no rush to play, right? So, maybe, I don't know. That's what I mean. Like, I'm debating, should I keep playing Genshin Impact or not? I guess the next time I play it, it'll help determine whether or not we keep playing it or not. Because if people aren't going to support the streams, then I'm going to try to find something that people want to see. You know what I'm saying? So we'll find out. But anyway, it could be that Wednesday night. Or we could just do more Call of Duty. We could do 2 nights in a row of Call of Duty, which I'd be okay with. I really enjoy Call of Duty, especially now that I'm getting all the new attachments unlocked and everything. Seems to be a good time. So, I'd be okay with that. Alright, but anyway, that's the streaming week. I'm off on Thursday. And then, of course, next week, we're just going to continue on with all the stuff that I've been doing. There'll be more Divinity, more Danganronpa, more Ghosts and Goblins, Street Fighter, Call of Duty, Fall Guys, possibly Genshin. That's the mix. That'll be next week. Don't know what my next day off will be. I'll let you know as soon as I know. Okay? Fair enough? Okay, that's the schedule. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be honest with all of you. Last night was a pretty dud of a stream, except for the very generous contribution from Only Ice Coffee of those subs. Outside of that, it was really slow. I'm hoping that today, for today's streams, I can make up for the fact that last night's stream was incredibly slow for support. Alright? So if you like what I'm doing today, please by all means support it. Cheer, sub, tip. Remember, we're trying to hit a tier 2 subs goal for the month. If we hit the tier 2 subs goal, when I do the gaming challenge run marathon, which will be coming up likely the first week of April, we're going to be doing a special episode of DSP Tries It. What will it be? I don't know. But it should be special because there's a lot of new things that have come out in fast food recently that people have asked me to check out. So, please consider subbing if you have not. Please consider gifting a subscription if you want to help out the channel and you already have a sub. We're trying to hit 775 subs by the end of the month, and we got 8 days to go. Let me think. 30 days plus September, April, June, November. No, 31, so 9 days to go this month. Okay? Of course, I'm not here every single day, but you get the gist of what I'm trying to say. Okay? All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your support. You guys know I'm an independent content creator. You guys know that I depend on your crowdfunding support to make ends meet. I don't have any sponsorships with any companies to shill anything, and I don't have any kind of a exclusive streaming contract with Twitch or YouTube or anyone to make money for turning on my stream. That's why it's so important for you to support the streams if you can, if you like the content, okay? And thank you to those who do. I really do appreciate it. Please understand that contributions are not mandatory nor are they expected. I would stream regardless of if I can make money doing it or not, because gaming is my hobby, and I've absolutely loved over the past 12 plus years being able to share my gameplay experiences with all of you. It wasn't ever about making a paycheck. I just kind of stumbled into it, right? But for those who do support the streams, thank you so much in advance for any support that you lend. You help me out tremendously, and you allow me to continue to do what I love for a living. I totally understand. I'm one of the most lucky people around because I get to do my true passion as my job. All right? And I absolutely appreciate and love that. Thank you for that. All right. So really quickly, a few quick things before we get to news, because I have a major gaming story I want to talk about today because I'm upset. I'm very upset today. I'm incredibly upset. I'm angry as hell, and I want to vent. Okay. So, we'll talk about that in a minute. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, if you are a frequenter of my streams and you're someone who watches the streams and is maybe even thinking of contributing, I have a few tips for you to try to help you out to stop online harassment. Number one, please make sure that your Twitch stream name is not the same as a name that you use on other accounts such as social media. Sadly, there are trolls out there who are no-life losers. If they don't like you for some reason, they may follow you to other sites to try to continue the harassment. You don't want that. So diversify your Twitch persona from everything else. In addition, turn off your open direct messages on Twitch. They are just an open avenue for harassment. Frequently, people who contribute positively to the streams tell me then they get harassed after the fact, and it's very annoying. I recommend closing off open DMs instead. I have it set up that you can actually, you can set it so that only people on your friends list can DM you. And that's what I recommend you do. Okay? We have tips goals in effect today. If we raise $50 in tips, I'll put on my Gunner glasses. If we raise $100 in tips, I'll put on a vest. Excuse me. Yesterday, it was the red vest that I wore. So today we'll reset it, and all other vests will be eligible, including beige, blue, platinum, camo, and gray. Okay? Of course, we do have tier 2 and tier 3 rewards if we, raise higher levels of tips, but I won't talk about those unless we get closer to them. Okay? Good stuff. Now, if you are considering tipping me today, please create a verified PayPal account. A verified PayPal account means you link your personal data to your PayPal so that PayPal can verify you're a real person who actually exists. It puts in added protections for me against fraud. I had so much fraud against me in late 2020. I had someone coming on here with stolen credit cards regularly, screwing me over. It really hurt me in my business behind the scenes. So please understand that's why I asked that you do this. If you have a verified PayPal account, I know I can trust your tip, and we can count it right away and move smoothly through the stream without having to sit here and verify if it's real and all kinds of stuff with that. All right. I also recommend, if you are a frequent stream viewer and you're going to tip me regularly, which some people do, and thank you to those who do, please consider doing a code word system. Meaning, when you give me your message along with your tip, you use a code word so I recognize it's really you. And since I know it's you and I can trust you, I can just immediately give a shout out and add it to the running total and continue with the streams. This system has actually worked positively and tremendously in the last 2 weeks. Several people have done this, and now we just go whoop right into the streams, which is great. Okay, so good stuff. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, that's it. That's it for the plugs. We're done. I've turboed through them. We're 16 minutes into the pre-stream, and I've covered pretty much everything I wanted to cover. Now I've got this new story I want to talk about. I'm going to be very upset. Okay? So prepare yourselves. The rumor is, and I do say it's a rumor, although it seems like people are saying internal sources at Sony are confirming this. As of July 2021, Sony is planning to shut down the digital stores and marketplaces for the following consoles: PlayStation 3, PlayStation Portable, and PlayStation Vita. What does that mean? It means if you have any of these consoles and you boot them up and you connect to PlayStation Store, it will give you an error message and it will no longer exist. What the fuck? I'm upset. Allow me to explain to you why I'm upset. Not that because I use them all the time. I don't. Okay, I don't. I don't frequently jump on my PlayStation 3 and sit there on the PlayStation Store downloading games. Alright? But the cool thing about me being a content creator is that, and the fact that I'm a variety streamer, I'm not someone who sits and plays a certain genre of game. I'm not someone who focuses in on only one thing. Is that we have these special events. We have viewers' choice playthroughs. We have marathons, right? And during said events, people are able to nominate and vote on games for me to play. And frequently, during certain events, like for example, during a horror marathon for Halloween, or doing a indies marathon, or doing, sometimes there's a classics rageathon. My God, the rageathons, right? Usually, some, if not a major chunk of the games that we end up playing during those events are older games. Games from PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, and PlayStation 3 era, okay? Currently, right now, there's only a few ways to play those games. One would be to actually physically own the consoles of PlayStation 1, 2, or 3, and then physically buy the games and boot them up and then find a way to capture from those consoles into a modern capture and streaming setup. That is incredibly unrealistic, especially for the legacy consoles like PS1, PS2. They don't even have HDMI out. It's not easy to get any kind of a converter to allow them to have video ripped from them, okay? It's just not easy. I mean, good luck finding a working PS1, right? That's reliable, that you can play games on and everything. In addition, let's be honest here. Does anyone want to sit there for the loading times of the original PS1 or PS2? Of course not, right? You don't want to be working on legacy technology of actual using physical motors and discs to run this shit. You want to use digital. Now, in addition to that, the other way to play these would be to try to buy a classic throwback console. For example, remember PlayStation Classic, that huge flop that happened? Yeah, PlayStation Classic was a giant flop because it basically was just an emulator inside of a fake PlayStation console, and it ran the games like shit. People were saying actually playing the original games or emulated versions of the games on your PC ran better than the PlayStation Classic console. So essentially, the thing was a huge dud. No one bought it, and stores had thousands of these fucking things lining the shelves. I remember going to Best Buy, they had an entire case full of them because no one bought them for Christmas. They thought it was going to be a hot item. No one bought it. So they had them just sitting there, and at one point, they were selling them for like 20 bucks. Okay? The only real viable way to play legacy Sony games right now is via the digital store on PlayStation 3, right? Going on the store and say, oh, I want to play Dino Crisis. Look, it's there, PS1. Download and play on your PS3. Now, is there input delay? Yes. You're playing a game that was meant to be played on a not digital high definition, screen. And so there's going to be some delay there when it's running the game. And I've played all the classic Resident Evils. I've played Dino Crisis. I didn't beat Dino Crisis, but I played Dino Crisis. I played the classic Spyro 1. I played the original Crash Bandicoot 1 and 2. Right? I've played a lot of games, classic PlayStation games, on PlayStation 3 via the store. In fact, right now, on my PlayStation 3, I have Final Fantasy VII sitting there, waiting to be played one day. I had it from years and years ago when I was working on the original Project 7 over a decade ago. I had Final Fantasy VII downloaded and ready to go, and one day, I swear to God, I'm going to play that game. Okay? So, the point that I'm making is, because I'm a variety streamer, and because Sony has always allowed these classic PlayStation games to be downloaded via the PlayStation Store and played on PS3, it has given me a big amount of accessibility to old games. If the rumor is true, and Sony shuts down the PlayStation Store over the course of the summer, literally every single old game will be inaccessible. Anything that was never ported to PlayStation 4 or 5 will become completely inaccessible overnight. Now, you might argue, well, what about PlayStation 3 playing PlayStation 1 and 2 discs, right? That was a thing, right? It was, but it was only the very first wave of PlayStation 3s. What ended up happening was, if you remember, Sony selling that goddamn thing for $599 US. Everyone complained the console was way too expensive. So they needed to find ways to cut corners and lower the cost of production. So they immediately decided the first thing to go was playing those backwards compatible, discs. So every other wave of PlayStation 3 after that didn't have it, including my first PlayStation 3 that I bought didn't have it. So good luck trying to find a backwards compatible PlayStation 3 that runs the discs. In addition, let's be honest here. Some of the most popular PlayStation games from PlayStation 1 and 2 era, these are collector's items. Good luck finding copies of the original Resident Evils, Clock Tower, you know what I mean? Some of these games, they sell for a ridiculous amount of money because over the years, these discs wore out. So good luck trying to find viable copies to even run on a console to begin with. You see? So by Sony taking away the store, they're basically shutting out a huge part of history, gaming history. And you know what? Timbo Slice made a good point this morning in the chat when I was talking about this in text chat this morning on the stream. He's like, this is definitely a huge positive for Microsoft, because look what they did. Okay? Look what they did. They made it so all of their consoles, new consoles, can digitally run their old games. Their new consoles, you could put an old disc into it, it'll read it. In fact, a lot of these games run better on the new console than they did on the original Xbox, the Xbox 360, etc. They're actually play better on the modern console. And you know what? I have to agree. I have to agree that Microsoft kind of knew what they were doing and said, we are supporting gamers and our customers, and we want them to be able to play the legacy titles with no issues. So whether you have the disc or you're going to buy it digitally, these games will work on the modern Xbox consoles. And that's all well and good. Problem with that is, that's only Xbox games. And I hate to say it, PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 era, it really was Sony that was the dominant company during those eras. And you're telling me now oh well, you just won't be able to play those games anymore unless you want to find an old-ass console and a physical copy. And then figure out a way to capture from it. Like, that's nuts. That's insanely stupid. Okay? Now, a couple points to be made here. Alright? First of all, why would Sony be doing this? Why out of nowhere would Sony just announce we're closing all our digital stores? Well, as always, it's a money thing. I guarantee you what's happened is over the last console generation, you've seen an erosion of the audience of people who are actually downloading games off of these legacy stores. Okay? I mean, first of all, PlayStation Vita, that console barely had any good games to begin with. Outside of Persona 4 Golden, right? Like, is there really a must-play game on the Vita at all? Maybe you could argue like Gravity Rush or something, but in my opinion, there wasn't a single game worth playing on there. It was just Persona 4. Okay? Now, for PlayStation Portable, I feel there were a lot of great games for PSP. But I guess you could argue how many people really are actively playing the PlayStation Portable these days, right? So I guess it kind of makes sense for the handheld systems that they're basically just saying we're retiring the systems. Okay? But in regards to PlayStation 3, and then of course the PlayStation 1 and 2 legacy games being played on there, sure, I can understand that maybe they're not making tons of money and maybe even it's a money loss for them to maintain the servers to have these games sitting on there available. But there's a couple things. Number one, people who bought the games and own the digital rights to them should have the right to download them forever. And Sony's essentially saying, oh well, we don't care if you bought legacy games or not. As of this summer, their servers are down, so fuck off. So if you don't have a PlayStation 1 or 2 game downloaded on your PS3 by this summer, you can never play it on PS3 ever again. They're going to just shut off the digital rights to get those games because they're closing the store entirely. Okay? But for me, even though, yes, this is a money issue, you've got to have some kind of like a responsibility to your customers to preserve the legacy of your games and consoles, right? Like, there's a history aspect here to be spoken of. You're basically making it so that it's no longer open accessibility to entire console generations of games that people grew up with. Right? And if you take a look at, for example, Nintendo does this all the time. But then they typically will make it that those games are accessible again. So even though they shut down the Wii store, then the Wii U store opens. Then the Wii U store closes, the Switch store opens, and now you've got apps on the Switch that play your classic NES and Super Nintendo games. You see what I'm saying? Like, they still make the classics accessible to the masses. Even if they shut off on one accessibility option, they have another one that opens up. Sony is not giving that option. Sony's just saying, we're just closing it down, and fuck all if we care if you can play our old games anymore. That's a big problem, in my opinion. You know, like I said, I'm a variety streamer. Rageathon. Oh, man, one of the best rage-inducing games was this game for PS2. Well, no way to play it. Impossible to play. That sucks. You know, that's fucking stupid. I've really enjoyed playing the older Sony games over the last 12 years. Whenever you guys pull one out of the blue, like, you ever hear this one? You ever hear this one? Let's do it. Okay, and then we play it like, wow. That's a wild, wacky, zany game, or, you know, an old classic game. I really enjoy playing those. You know, I told you guys, I missed out on that whole era, late PS1, PS2 era. I missed out on because I was only playing competitive Street Fighter. I didn't care about other console games. So there was entire IPs that I missed out on, and the only reason that I've been exposed to these games is you guys recommending them to me and me being able to get them digitally over the PlayStation 3. And now that's going away. So that's pissing me off. Now, the other thing that, of course, people can argue is, well, what about emulation? All right. Of course, you can always say that. What about stealing the ROMs off the internet? Yes, of course you can do that. But viability of this, for me, is a nil because number one, I don't have a PC that's going to be able to run these emulated games and then capture and stream. Sometimes emulation is actually pretty resource intensive on a PC, depending on the emulator and the like. The emulators themselves are legal, but getting the ROMs for these games usually is not. Usually being able to get the ROMs for any games off the internet is illegal. I'm sure there are legal ways to maybe buy the physical disc and find a way to rip the ROM off of the disc and play it that way. But again, now you're dealing with a whole new can of worms, right? oh, now I got to find a reliable used copy of these games on the internet, buy it, have it shipped to my house. Hopefully it's not scratched to fuck, you know, so that I can actually rip the ROM off. See what I'm saying? It's just not a viable solution. Sure, if you guys are masters of doing this, I'm sure it's easy for you. But for the common person, this is not an accessible solution to playing classic games at all. This is the opposite of an accessible solution. This is creating a significant difficulty spike in being able to play old games. That's not cool. And it would be one thing if Sony was announcing a new initiative like, oh, we're going to have a new system where PlayStation, the PlayStation Plus membership exclusive, pay $20 a month, and all of our old legacy games are accessible now via a downloadable service on the PlayStation 4 and 5. Then I'd be like, who cares if they're closing down the PlayStation 3 store? But they have no replacement lined up. Nothing. So who knows? Now, you know, keep in mind, this is a rumor. Sony has not confirmed nor denied this yet. This is just a rumor that hit the internet today. If it's true, does that mean that maybe, do you think Sony does have something planned? Do you think that maybe, you know, let's face it, we're heading into the time of year, all these big announcements, digital announcements are going to come out. There's no more E3, so it's going to be all digital announcements on the internet, right? Maybe Sony does have something planned, and they're going to be like, oh, guess what? Surprise. We actually are doing a new service with legacy titles and the like, and it's going to be available. I would love to play classic games on something other than my PlayStation 3, because, honestly, it's a pain in the ass to use my PlayStation 3. I have to use a special setup here that bypasses the HDCP copy protection on PlayStation 3, which they never enabled a way to disable it, like you can do on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, which is really stupid. And it uses all this extra hardware to do it, and sometimes things go wrong. Sometimes an HDMI cable will fry. And sometimes, you know, I've had issues with my PlayStation 3s over the years. It's very complicated to capture directly from a PlayStation 3. It just is. It always was. It was never an easy deal. So, if you're telling me, oh, this is good, you can now play all the classics on PlayStation 4 or 5 via this new service, I'm all for it. I would be down for that. Absolutely. But still, I'd be pissed because you're still closing down the old store. So all those games over the years that I bought digitally, right? I remember, like I just said, the classic Crash Bandicoots, Final Fantasy VII, Dino Crisis, all the classic Resident Evils, the original versions of them, okay? Spyro the Dragon, among many others. There's been tons of PlayStation 2 games that I've played over the years and some PlayStation 1 games. I'm no longer going to have access to those at all. They're going to go away. And I will not be able to play them anymore unless I download them now, right? Like I would have to go back and somehow look at my games library of classic games and download all of them and somehow fit them onto my PlayStation 3 hard drive now. If I don't, I'm screwed, right? And that's the thing, Stinky Dinks just said. Meanwhile, a Xbox One or a Series X will play every generation of Xbox games. Right. Microsoft did this right. Sony screwed this all up, man. 100% agree there. So, you know, it's not often that I give the one-ups to Microsoft, but man, they did this correctly. And Nintendo, again, in their defense, even though they frequently shut down access to games, they usually reopen access on a future console. Sony seems like they haven't planned for this at all, yet they've decided this is now a money loser for them, and they're screwing everything over, right? So, I guess we'll have to see. Husky Busky, incorrect. He says, Elgato Direct Capture for PlayStation 3 takes 2 minutes to set up and 2 cables. That's it. There's an article and a YouTube video about it. Wrong! 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 Just because it says it doesn't mean it works. I used to own all those capture devices. The Elgato barely works. It barely works. And what I mean by that is it had tons of issues. it would use component. It wouldn't use HDMI out. It would use component. And when it used component, it would fuck everything up. To bypass the HDCP, the graphical quality would be terrible, and the thing would frequently have audio bugs and glitches and issues. The Elgato was not a viable capture device for PlayStation 3. Most people who used it hated it, and the only real way to actually capture from PlayStation 3 in an easy and viable way is an HDCP bypass setup. So, wrong! Just because you search something on Google doesn't make it true, stupid. You should stop being so gullible. I know, because I owned it, and it didn't work. Okay, anyway. That's neither here nor there. You're not going to care about capturing for your PlayStation 3 regardless anyway, because all the legacy games are going away, which is the point I'm making here, okay? So anyway, I will follow this story. We will wait to see, will there actually be confirmation that this is true and this is going away over the course of the summer, right? Let's find out. Let's see what happens. And if it does, I mean, number one, I'll be very honest with all of you. If it's true, I think I want you guys to tell me what classic games do you think that I should get and place on my PlayStation 3 just for posterity purposes? Do you think there'll be games you'll ever want me to play, the original versions of, that I should now get and download and have on there forever because I'm not going to be able to get them after, say, July, right? Are there classic games that you absolutely want me to play the original versions of, and this is the only way to do it, right? The good news is, I don't really have anything else on my PlayStation 3 hard drive. Like, I don't think I have any PlayStation 3 games anymore. So I could essentially just delete all those and just get PlayStation 1 and 2 games. And the PS3 will just be a legacy console for me to go back and play classics, right? So, yeah. Well, let's talk about this. If this is true, we don't know yet. If this is true, it may be a situation where we just have to kind of get stuff right away, right? Death Proof Xbox is Resident Evil 1 through 3, Dino Crisis Siphon Filter, maybe Parasite Eve 1 and 2, Metal Gear Solid 1. Yeah, that's, oh my god, I didn't even think about that. Metal Gear Solid 1. Yeah, absolutely. That's the only way to play it right now. Unless you have a GameCube, right? And you could get the GameCube version, which is incredibly expensive to find. That's the only way to play the original Metal Gear Solid 1. That shit's gonna go away, dude. Damn, I didn't even think about that till you just said it. Well, it is what it is. That's what I mean. Like, this is it's big news, and it's very disheartening and annoying. That's terrible that they would just get rid of a way to play the old games. Why would you not want to find a way to preserve your old games, right? I want to remember the past, and I want to be able to still play those classics. And it seems like Sony is just not giving a shit. That's not good. All right. Anyway, I digress. There you go. We'll find out more as time progresses. We'll see if it's true or not, okay? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for shout-outs. Let's give shout-outs to those who've contributed. We start off with Dark Maggot, who resubscribed for 53 months last night. Thank you, Dark Maggot, for the long-standing support. Timbo Slice cheered an hour ago. He said, will you try McDonald's in China? They're introducing something new. It's called a burger, but it substitutes a traditional beef patty for a hefty load of meatballs slathered in tomato meat sauce. That's disgusting. Can you imagine? Can you effing imagine what that's going to be like? First of all, nothing at McDonald's is fresh. Nothing. So you know these are going to be frozen meatballs that are going to be like fucking rocks that probably sat in a freezer for 6 to 8 months. Okay? Tomato meat sauce. It probably is going to come in like a giant vat or a bag with pieces of chunks of meat floating in it. Oh my god. It's probably going to be like a shitty tomato soup. They're just going to pour over rock hard cold meatballs and then throw it on a fucking heater. Here's your meatball sandwich, bro. The thing is, in America, they probably eat that shit right up. Seriously. People would probably go to McDonald's just to get that, just like all the other shit that they have there, and act like it's something good and authentic. That sounds absolutely disgusting to me. Okay, it does. It sounds absolutely nasty. So I guess I mean, it really depends on how they prepare it and everything. Someone just said, well, in Asian countries, usually McDonald's makes everything fresh. Now, I don't know how they operate. I don't know how they operate in other countries outside of the U.S. I know how they operate here. So I know if it comes here, it's going to be gross. Also, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't there a giant fiasco 10, 15 years ago where it was discovered that, not in America, but in other countries, they weren't using real meat in their burgers. It was mealworms, right? Wasn't this discovered? And then they got this giant problem with it, and they got sued, and then they had to basically actually start using real beef, right? So I'm just saying, you know, I remember that. That was a giant story. Anyway. Never heard of that. Some people are saying it's a conspiracy. Some people are saying are wrong. Some people are saying it's an urban legend. How would customers not notice it's mealworms? Because it was ground up into paste and formed into a burger. If you take any kind of meat and grind it up and form it into a paste, like, it all looks the same. You know, especially if they're making it try to look like beef. But that's the point I'm making. Like, I don't think if they make these meatballs, I don't think it's going to be the same as their burgers. It'll be something different. It's like, what is it going to be made of? You can make meatballs out of a lot of different stuff. Chicken, pork, beef, veal, lamb. You can make meatballs out of a lot of different stuff. And I'm curious, like, what would the consistency of the meatball be? Would it even be any good? Would it end up being, like, all fucking breading? Because you can make it with bread, like breadcrumbs in them, too. Like, I don't know. The idea, if it wasn't McDonald's, and you told me someone else had this idea, I'd be like, okay, this could be appetizing. But the fact that it's McDonald's immediately makes me like, I don't know about this. So, all right. The first cheerer of the live stream was Phantasy Star PG, so let's get him up on the leaderboard here. He said, with the PlayStation 5 and Series X games easily hitting 60 frames per second or 4K with ray tracing, but there's still games that'll force a mode on the gamers. Like Ubisoft's recent titles like Watch Dogs Legion and Assassin's Creed Valhalla, where Legion only had 4K 30 frames with ray tracing because they wanted to show off London in the highest visual fidelity. But Valhalla was 60 frames before they added in a 4K mode. Since the new consoles are more like PCs, would it be a standard to let gamers pick what mode they want? Yes, I think absolutely gamers should be able to pick what they want. Because if the gamers have the choice, then ultimately it's up to the gamer to determine what's more important to them, and they can get the best experience out of the game. Maybe you're a gamer who absolutely wants 60 frames no matter what. You feel that it makes the game more playable, right? And you don't care about the ultimate visual fidelity. Then you can choose that. One, if you're a gamer who absolutely is a videophile, you have a 4K television and you want to see all this crazy detail and shit, and you really care more about the cinematics of a game than the actual gameplay, maybe you even play it at a lower difficulty, right? Then obviously you should have the option to do that. You shouldn't have games locked in at a certain resolution, a certain frame rate only. Like, I would have to say, this is the Bloodborne issue. You know, Bloodborne was locked at 30 frames on PlayStation 4, and now here we are. PlayStation 4 Pro comes out, still runs at 30 frames. PlayStation 5 comes out, still runs at 30 frames. What the fuck? These are consoles that could definitely run it better, and it can't because they locked it at 30 frames. So you should have those options, in my opinion. Okay? That's my opinion. Okay. Phantasy Star PG cheered again. He said, my first comment only applies to single-player games, not online multiplayer games where 60 frames per second is needed. Right. Well, right. When you're playing a competitive game, you always want the highest frame rate. Some people may argue not, though. Some people who don't really care about being the highest competitive player might argue out the opposite, but I would say in a competitive game, you always want the most frames. So there you go. Roosh did 100-bit cheers. So good morning, Phil. Thank you, Roosh. You're the top cheerer of the day. Let's get that up on the leaderboard. How many O's in his name? 4. And then S-H-H-H. He doesn't make it easy to spell. Thank you, Roosh. Jay Hawkwood cheered. He says, don't forget $75 tips goals to put on slippers. No, there's no $75 tip goal to put on slippers. It's bullshit. Just because last night people were joking because they were wondering. There was a question. Someone asked me, do you wear socks all the time? And my answer was no. When I'm in the house, I actually usually don't wear socks, but I always wear socks when I'm outside of the house. Whenever I put my foot in a sneaker, I always wear a sock. So the next question was, do you get warts all over your feet because you walk around without socks? And I was like, well, no. Number one, I'm indoors. Indoors, you're not going to get warts anyway. But also, I always wear slippers. I don't just walk barefoot around my house. I always wear slippers. So then people were freaking out. What slippers? Can we see the slippers? So I showed the slippers and people started freaking out. Oh, new slipper goal. Slipper tips goal. And I said, no. Absolutely not. Stupid. We're not doing a slipper tips goal. But people are always excited to find out the most little pointless pieces of information about my life. So they freaked out when they actually found out that I wear slippers. And one person, I think it was Jay Hawkwood, actually said, oh, I actually own those slippers. Those were his slippers. So there you go. In reality, what he doesn't realize is that I stole the slippers from his house. I went to his house and stole them. And he hasn't realized, he hasn't gone to look for them yet, but they're not there. Okay. Steven Seagull cheered, and he said, you? I guess his cheer screwed up. Then he cheered again. He said, you should write a book based on your detractors, lies, and memes. I'd buy that shit in a heartbeat, like DSP's life based on them. The thing is, number one, I don't think enough people would care to buy a book. I'm just saying, I don't think enough people would care to buy a book about me. I'm not a popular guy in that way, okay? Even though I do have a dedicated fan base, it's not like I'd be selling thousands of copies of this thing. Just being honest, I don't think there's that many people who care that much. And especially those who've been here for the last 12 years, you know a lot of my life story already. I mean, how much more can I reveal in the book, right? Probably not much. That's number one. Number two, if I were to make a book, immediately people would rip it, pirate it, and toss it all over the internet and say, don't buy it to support Phil. Fuck him. Get this pirated version. And number three, immediately people would be going through the book, tearing it apart, posting up videos constantly about it, so there'd be no reason to buy the book. See what I'm saying? And in addition, I work so much, I stream so much, I don't really have time to do anything. Like, how would I find time to make this book exactly, right? I don't know. It would take away from my streaming for sure. So, at this point in my life, I don't foresee that happening. Maybe in the future, if I become the longest running streamer, if I'm still streaming when I'm 50, 60 years old, and I'm the longest running streamer, and I'm still streaming and playing games and doing all kinds of stuff on stream, maybe then there'll be enough of a legacy that people will want to hear about my roots, right? And how I lasted so long. But I don't foresee that happening anytime soon. No one's going to care, okay? Who's Yuri Cheers? Can you play Pong? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Like, is there a way to play the original Pong game? I don't know. I'm sure you could play it on PC. But if I could go find my old Pong console, maybe. I don't know what happened to it. It was at my parents' house. Maybe it's still there in the attic somewhere. Roosh now did a 300-bit cheer and said NBA Street. So I guess he's recommending our legacy games to play on PlayStation 3. He's in the NBA Street. I never played NBA Street. I'm assuming it's street hoops, right? Like street basketball. Super Sly Gaming cheers. You can currently buy digital copy codes on Amazon for PlayStation 3 games. Do you think that they'll be getting rid of that? Yeah. I think what's going to happen, those codes will immediately lose all of their value. Just snap like this finger snap, and that's it. They're done. They got Thanos. Because if the store's closed, there's nowhere to enter the code. And that's what they're saying. They're going to close the store. There will be nowhere to enter digital codes. Those codes will be absolutely worthless. Yeah. If you can believe it. Local Nomad did a 200-bit cheers. Hello, Phil. Looking forward to some Ghosts and Goblins. Really hoping you can squeeze this game in more often. Maybe some night streams. Well, here's the thing. I would have played it twice this week. But people wanted me to try that Monster Hunter Rise demo. And we all know how that went. So now I should be able to play it more often. If you do the math, let's say I'm here 6 days a week. Alright? That would mean 1 to 2 streams of Ghosts and Goblins, 1 to 2 streams of Danganronpa, 1 to 2 streams of Divinity. Alright? But I also like to play Call of Duty at least once a week as a major stream, you see? So, at least one game cannot be played twice. This week, that game ended up being Ghosts and Goblins. Okay? But next week, Maybe I'll play more Ghosts and Goblins. And it'll be a different game that doesn't get played twice. You see? Also, again, my schedule is different. You know, this week my day off is Thursday instead of Wednesday. You know, it used to be Tuesday. So every week is different. It's hard for me to figure out how many streams I'm even doing a week and then how many times to fit in certain games. It's getting more challenging, admittedly. All right? So, moving forward, I hear you. Some people are saying they really want to see me play more Ghosts and Goblins. So maybe next week, since this week I played Divinity twice, and I'll be playing Danganronpa twice. You see, maybe next week I'll try to alternate it. Okay? All right. Snow Carl just cheered. And he says, I just wanted to say, I think Timbo's been doing a great job since you remodded him. He's trying to really hard to be nice and but fair. Well, there you go. I have not received a single complaint about Timbo Slice being a moderator since I remodded him. That's an achievement. It's tough to be a mod on my streams, trust me. Yeah, I have not had one person come to me and say that he's, you know, we're sad he's a mod, he's doing a bad job. No one. So that's a good thing. You know, Timbo used to moderate. A very long time ago, he was a moderator when I was streaming. Back before it was my job, you know, my job was to make YouTube videos. And streaming was kind of the side thing. It was just fan service. But obviously, I still needed people to moderate. So, the awesome thing is, he already had experience moderating, because it was very different back then. And now he decided to come back. He says he has more time to do it now, and he wanted to moderate again. Someone just said, well, why was he demodded? Because he didn't have time. At that point in his life, he got too busy to do it. He had done it for a while, successfully, but he got too busy, and he decided of his own accord that he wanted to, you know, stop being a moderator for a time. But he continued to watch the streams. He was always a frequenter of the streams, right? And we're happy to have him back. So that's good. It's definitely a good thing. So, good job, Timbo. Snow Carl is resubscribed for 8 months. Says, wow, I'm so loyal. Thank you, Snow Carl, for 8-month resub. I appreciate that. Daryl Jensen here says, why are you upset about Metal Gear Solid 1 not being accessible? You're never going to play it again. You shunned it whenever people asked you to play it. I've never shunned it at all. That's absolutely incorrect. 100% lies, 100% slander and defamation, and I'm going to be filing a cease and desist order with your office there. Very shortly, you're going to be slammed with many different injunctions for saying these kind of things publicly on my streams. So, just to forewarn you, you're in trouble, Buster. But anyway, no, I have no problem playing the game again. I only played it once, and I think I played it like for an hour on a marathon, and that was it. But again, if you want to see me play it, you have to take opportunity when we have these Viewers' Choice events. There was no reason why I couldn't have played it for the Viewers' Choice event instead of Danganronpa V3. Did people nominate and vote for it? But then you complain, why didn't you play it again? Because you didn't nominate and vote for it. That's the whole point of these events. That's the point of Viewers' Choice. Why didn't you nominate and vote for it? Right? Right? You couldn't stop a visual novel that only got like 50 votes? You couldn't stop it. It was too much of a formidable force to stop these anime-ish teenagers. Oh no. It was too strong, right? No. It's because people, sadly, don't take advantage when these opportunities arise. It's very easy to get there and rally people and nominate and vote on a game. Only 50 people determining the fate of an entire playthrough? Yes. The truth of the matter is, over the next several months, I'll be playing Danganronpa V3. Hundreds of people will watch live. Thousands of people will watch on demand on YouTube. All right? And that was determined by 50 people. 50 people who voted. That's it. It could have been Metal Gear Solid 1. It could have been, really. But it had to, you know, you have to take advantage of these situations, and some people just don't. You know, and it's hilarious. Well, it's because it's on the forums. Damn straight it's on the forums. Because that way I can actually legitimately control it, and there's no trolling and there's no abuse. If I had it on Twitter or Straw Poll or anywhere else, that motherfucking thing would have never been legit. It would have been 100% fake votes coming in. And I have no way to tell. When I used to use Straw Poll, I would put up a straw poll at like 9 p.m., 10 p.m., all right? I would go to sleep. At 4:30 in the morning, 200 votes would come in and within a minute. What a legit straw poll. Yeah, definitely gonna count that. So, that being said, that's the deal. And of course, people will make every excuse under the sun why not to nominate and vote on a game rather than just doing it because they're lazy. Well, that's your own fault then. If you wanted to see Metal Gear Solid 1 and you didn't nominate and vote for it for viewer's choice, you are lazy. It's your fault. So don't complain on my stream about it. You had the ability to make it happen and you didn't. Trust me, there's enough people out there who like to troll me. They would have rallied to vote for Metal Gear Solid 1. It's not my fault. All right. Steven Seagull cheered. He said, Lean and Go Squeak wanted to know why you don't share a room with your wife and whose office is bigger, yours or hers. Well, this room that I'm in right now is meant for work purposes only. When this room became a tax write-off for me, which was 2016? Either 2016 or 2017. I forget what year it became officially like a tax write-off. The way it works is, for a room to be a tax write-off, you have to only use it for work purposes. You cannot use it for anything else. So everything in this room, all my gaming equipment and hardware, the vests, the PCs, all the equipment, all just for gaming, right? So that's why it has to have two separate rooms. Now, is my wife's room bigger than mine? I think they're identical. I think they're actually like identical rooms. The reason that this one ended up becoming my office was because of the placement of the internet. The way that the internet ran in the house, I was told that this is the room that's going to get the stronger internet or the better internet. The room, like her room, has no direct internet line. So there either would have had to have like a line going from outside, but I was even told if they did that, it would be splitting off of another line. So basically you'd be degrading the internet in this room by doing that. There's basically two rooms in my house where there's a direct internet line. One is in the living room and one's this room, and that's it. The other rooms are all like split offs of those main lines. So if I were to do that, it would degrade the signal. You see, if I were to stream from my bedroom, it'd actually be a weaker internet. That's what I was told when I moved in here and they were setting everything up in my house for internet and stuff. So it had to be done like that. I wanted to have a direct line here and in the other room, and I was told it wouldn't work. I was told that I have to split the line, and that way then the internet in both rooms would be weaker. So, because trust me, I wanted to have the room set up differently. I wanted to have the internet on the other wall. I wanted to have this side of the room on the left-hand side be where the TV and everything was, and the right-hand side of the room would have been where the PC and everything was. And I was basically told, no, you would have to run internet line across the whole room because that's the wall where the internet comes in, and they couldn't change that. It would be weaker. So there you go. Anyway, so why we don't share the room, because if we did, then this wouldn't be considered a business office. Anything that she did in here for casual gaming or whatever would not be considered, business related, and then I wouldn't be able to do it for tax purposes. And as for how big is her room, like I said, I'm pretty sure both rooms are identical size. I'm pretty sure they're pretty identical. So, Snowcrawl Cheers, do you think people are scared of using forums because people are saying the mods threaten people using their logged IPs? No, that's their excuse. That's their excuse because they're pussies. They make shit up. They just don't want to go over there and nominate and vote on shit. They want to go to a website where they can abuse the voting and they get their way by cheating. In truth, every single website you go to logs your IP. Any single website where there's a forum, where there's any kind of identifier, they have your IP address. This is not something exclusive to my site. Any site you're on has your IP address. Seriously. Yes, 100% yes, they can see your IP. So unless you're constantly browsing the internet on a VPN, everyone sees your IP. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, that you think that someone's going to use that information against you or whatever. Yeah, right. Yes, one of my forum moderators is going to see your IP address, and they're going to pay money to have people fucking DDoS attack you. Boy, you're stupid. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my fucking life. Seriously, it is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my fucking life. That is utter stupidity. The moment that you step on anyone's website, you're giving out your personal identifier information, and there's nothing you can do about it. This is not anything exclusive to my site, guys. Okay. See, here we go. Someone just tipped $1.30. People don't want to make accounts on your forums. They'll get doxxed by trolls. It does not seem safe. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Here's what it is. There's reality, and then there's crazy conspiracy, right? And guess who follows crazy fucking conspiracies on a daily basis? The same fucking idiots who talk shit about me every day. They're that stupid. They actually believe this shit. They actually think that I have some kind of an elaborate service set up on my forums to gather IP addresses of trolls and use that information against them or something. You have to be a moron. Seriously. Like, how dumb can you be? Again, every website you ever have logged into in your life has gotten your IP address. This is not rocket science. This is something that's a common thing, but you've somehow allowed idiots to sway you and think that it's something that it's not because you're gullible. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. You'd have to wake up and stop listening to everything you're told because that's incredibly stupid, what I'm hearing. All right. Steven Siegel just cheered and says, I use a partial write-off for my bedroom because I work from home. It's sweet. I get $800 back from that. COVID tax savings have been amazing. Yeah, I honestly have absolutely no idea what the savings are. I just know that my tax guy does it. And, you know, he made it very clear when I started doing it, the criteria for doing it, you know, he made it very, very clear how it works. So, let's see here. So, okay, is this a legit tip or not? I have to check this out. Yes. Now, obviously, I'm not going to put this name on my leaderboard, but someone going by the name of Piccolo's Huge Green Schlong just hit me $9.99. So, instead of doing that, I'll abbreviate it. I'll say Piccolo's D. That makes more sense for my leaderboard here. Okay. Oh my God, I can't stop burping. It's disgusting. He says, did the military try to recruit you when you were younger? Yes, I've told this story many times. I'm not going to tell the whole story on pre-stream because we're running late here. I want to end it. I went, when I was graduating from high school, I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I went to a military recruiter's office. I believe it was Army. And the guy interviewed me, and after looking at all my qualifications, said that I would be officer material. And the guy, I mean, he was a nice guy, but he was also very cocky. Very cocky. And he came off to me like a guy who thought that his shit didn't stink and he was better than everyone else. And he was like, after basically outlining the whole thing about officers program and everything, he says, oh, and I know you'll be back. So have a good day and I'll see you soon. And when he said that to me, like back then, that kind of shit always rubbed me the wrong way. That kind of stuff pissed me off because it's like, who are you to tell me what I'm going to do or my decision or what's best for me? Like, I'm going to make this decision based on my own thought pattern. And when just the guy coming off as a cocky asshole, you know, actually turned me off from ever wanting to go back there. And I never did. And that's it in a nutshell. That's the short version of the story. Uzi Go Hard cheers. Businessman first, farm scorcher second. All right, there you go. So shout out to the top cheers of the week. This just started the week, by the way. So shout out to Uzi Go Hard, Daryl Jensen, Super Slide Gaming, Jay Hawkwood, and Timbo Slice, who were tied for 6th place. Snow Carl, Fantasy Star PG, are tied for 4th. Steven Siegel, Local Nomad, tied for 2nd. And Roosh in 1st place for cheering this week. So far, we have no gifted subs. Let's take a break, everyone. I got to use the restroom. So take a break, grab a drink or a snack, use the restroom yourself, whatever you like to do. When I come back, it is the continuation of Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection. I'm excited. Hopefully I can beat a stage today or at least get to a checkpoint. I'll see you guys in a few. Thank you.